Hello everybody. My name is Michael. I'm part of Cognita AI. I'm a growth specialist here. We are here to host a webinar on AI-powered QA. And with me as well is Salesh, who is also part of the Cognita AI team. Salesh, would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about your role, what you do at Cognita AI.
Yes, sure. Thanks for the warm welcome here, Mike. And I'm Shailesh here, everyone, and I'm a solutions architect here in Cognito, looking primarily at solutions and product development part of the delivery side.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, and today the topic is AI-led QA. Salesh, could you please explain to me a little bit about what we mean by AI-led QA? It's a little bit ambiguous. What are the problems that we're trying to solve with AI? What are we addressing as part of this webinar today?
Yeah, sure. When we say AI-led QA, right? So we are referring to the shift from traditional scripting automation towards intelligent adaptive systems that can reason about, the software behavior. It can generate tests, prioritize them, and even validate outcomes without being explicitly told what to do line by line, right?
Mhm.
And through that, we are solving the problems primarily in the testing case with AI-led QA broadly into which categorize into finally into three buckets broadly, right? The first one is test coverage gaps, which is essentially writing tests manually in which is time consuming, right? We are going to address that. And here the team often misses the edge cases or fail to update tests when the UI or logic changes. So AI can analyze the application flows, recent code changes, and even production logs to suggest or generate meaningful test case, especially around areas prone to failure. And the second one I'd like to highlight here is maintenance overhead, right? So traditional automation breaks easily with minor UI changes. That's something we all know about. But with AI, especially using visual recognition and intent-based locators, the test becomes much more resilient. And AI can auto heal scripts or even adapt to layout shifts or even alert your testing team or your managers when a test case is flaky due to environmental noise. So that's the second one. And the third, and primarily the most important and sought after bucket, which is speed and efficiency.
Mhm.
So AI can prioritize tests based on risk, past failures, or code churn. So it's going to help the team to focus on high impact scenarios first. And we are also seeing a lot of language models being used to convert plain cases into executable scripts, and they're being used to accelerate test authoring and then eventually reduce QA bottlenecks. So all in all, at the end of the day, the goal is simple, right, Michael? So the QA becomes less reactive and more predictive, and instead of QA trailing behind the development, AI at the end of the day in some way enables QA to operate at the speed of almost at the speed of delivery. Of course, there will be some kind of lag because it is a sequential activity. But yeah, instead of taking long cycles of doing testing, AI accelerates the testing scenarios.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. And you're going to give us a demo of how to do this with some of the latest AI technologies available. My understanding is that everything that we're going to show, it is either something that is openly available or is something that we may have built for a customer that is non-proprietary. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we'll walk through today as part of the demo is how this new wave of AI-led QA is actually achievable even for small and mid-sized team with minimal setup using the openly available tools for their team, right? So for the today's demo, I'll be using something like Anthropic's computer use framework, which will allow AI agents to operate software just like a normal human being would do, like something like moving the mouse, clicking buttons, typing into fields, verifying results. But instead of a QA engineer spending hours on writing test cases or scripting the test cases, we simply tell the agent what we want to do in in plain English. And the expectation here is agent going into the understanding of the input and then doing the application flow and collecting the test results at the end of the iteration. Some example, like for example, like we might say that log into the system as a vendor, create a new purchase order, and verify if the tax is calculated correctly, right? And the AI agent is going to perform that flow, record with what it did, and validate the outcome that was expected. So when I say validation, it's going to validate not only the flow, but also validate the mathematical computation that went inside the flow, so that it also validates whether the intent or the backend APIs for corresponding to that flow are computing the taxes correctly or not, right? So this is completely game changing, Michael, here for subject matter experts. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, and
Because
Shailesh, just one more question, just to elaborate on the methodology, the framework, right? Can you elaborate on the three vector methodology that we are approaching from the AI perspective to do
yeah,
kind of
sure,
new way of
sure.
testing?
So the three vector framework here that we're approaching here as part of the AI led QA methodology here is we're trying to address three key persona under one QA hat, right? So we have technically we have seen in the industry the first vector being the UX and UI testing, which is primarily going to be around doing the user flow and application flow, and the second one being the API testing we're talking about, right? Where we see the API transactions being as part of the play, and we have to verify whether the request body and the response body align with each other or not. And the third one being the DB testing. So which is basically going to be whether for a certain query from the UI, if the database is reflecting the correct values, and vice versa. If a database has a correct value, whether the fetch API or the get API is reflecting the correct value or the correct interpretation of those values in the UI. So typically we have seen in industry, these three people, they are three different individuals or three different individual roles when it comes to the testing team. So with this new approach, we are trying to join or fuse these three individual testing roles under one QA umbrella of AI test agent, through which instead of now going after seeking after three different roles, your agent can do all the three activities at once, one after another, of course, but in just the same agent. So that's primarily the three vector approach that we are approaching, implementing for our customers wherever we have AI-led QA applicable.
Okay. So, yeah, and for the context of everybody in the room who does not know who Cognita AI is as a company, so we are a solutions company, we're a consulting firm, that's another way to put it, and we specialize in software and IT projects, very often powered by AI. We build these for customers. So, and Celeste, for context, the solutions we're going to show today, these are your building blocks. These are building blocks that we'd use to build a more complex solution for our customers. So the question there is, why are customers asking us to build them something custom with these technologies instead of just buying some SaaS platform off the shelf?
Yeah, exactly here, Mike. And as you rightly said, at Cognita.ai, we specialize in building custom AI-led QA solutions for our customers, and just not generic tooling, right? And but what we also realize is that the workflows of the customer deeply align to their applications, their release pipelines, and their business logic. Now, you might wonder why not just buy a SaaS platform, right? Now, here is the thing, right? Why customers come to us instead, right? So their systems aren't generic enough for a SaaS platform. Most QA SaaS tools are built on standard web apps, but our customers often have enterprise, internal portals, custom ERPs, legacy systems, or multi-step business flows that off-shelf tools like just can't handle effectively because they're just not built as one-size-fits-all scenario, right? And the second thing is something like they want ownership and flexibility, because with custom solutions, they get AI agents tailored to their domain trained or to understand their workflows, their approval logic, and even with their edge cases. Plus, they can also run it in their own environment with no vendor locking, no data sharing and concerns and whatsoever. And also they need AI that is deeply embedded and not bolted in, right? We're just not adding AI layer on top. We're embedding AI agents to their real workflows across test scenarios, staging pipelines, bug tracking, even and even for the compliance check. So while SaaS tools might work as a cookie cutter use cases, our customers want practical AI that kind of mirrors how they test, not how platform thinks they should. And that's what we build for them.
Yeah, and as you know, we don't exclusively build QA solutions. We build other solutions for enterprise customers as well. And the answer you gave applies to many other types of projects as well. Like the very short version is that many off-the-shelf SaaS solutions are, powered by AI. They're not quite ready to be generic, as you put it. So thank you for that. Yeah, so at that point, like you have some technologies around AI-led QA that you want to demo. I believe that we're
Yeah.
ready to do that. Yeah, by all means, take the stage and let's see what you have to show us.
Yeah, sure. So let me share my screen and we'll go through some of those test cases. Let me see if I can bring up my screen.
Okay, everybody, thank you for your patience while we get set up for the demo. Okay, yeah, so Sulesh, walk us through what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, all right. So we are looking at what we call as Anthropic's computer use, or we call it as Claude's computer use. And this is an agentic framework where released by Anthropic. And what it does is it takes control over a particular computer or a host in terms of having the mouse controls, keyboard controls, terminal controls, and whatever, and it acts on your behalf depending upon what kind of actions you intend out of it, right? So, for example, I have one of the demo application of Salesforce opened up here, and let's say I want to do some testing, like, okay. I want to do a test case that verifies the ability of a Salesforce user to successfully create a new contact by filling out required fields such as first name, last name, email, phone number. And upon saving, the system should create the contact, display the correct details, and show a success confirmation message, right? And let me just type some additional information here. I want you to capture the test steps details while you perform the operations, and at the end share a detailed designed report with me, right? And some caveats here, because I don't want to be sharing the credentials. So Salesforce is already logged in the browser. I think that's it. And what we are going to do here is I'm going to fire this instruction to Claude's computer use. And on the left-hand side, we are going to see its operation in terms of the reasoning and what are the screenshots it takes at every step and what is the output at every step. That's the left side panel that is there over here. And on the right side panel is nothing but it's a VM. It's a virtual machine or a host computer, which is right now running Salesforce application on a browser, and Claude's computer use is going to take control of the entire host and perform the activity just like a normal human being is going to do, right? So with that, let me fire up this instruction. So now you see the first step here is it is going to help with Salesforce contact and detail and following task. So now you see some of the pop-ups, right? This thing came up out of as a pop-up. Now it goes to the contact creation screen to find out how it can create a contact, but there was a pop-up appearing, so it closed the pop-up. It decided to close the pop-up here. Now it clicked on add contact button, and that is where the new contact page came up. And here it decides to fill the fields. So here for the first name and last name, it's going to fill the information, and it sees that the last name is the most compulsory part of it because there is a star icon.
Yeah,
So
for clarity, you are not interacting with this whatsoever. This is all the AI
yeah,
interacting with everything.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not me interacting with house server. It's AI taking control of the entire computer and doing this activity. So now you see it also decided to scroll down. As you can see here, now I need to scroll down to find email and phone number fields. Let me scroll down to see more, right? I've not asked these kind of things to the AI agent. It is taking these decisions on the fly in the runtime to decide how to achieve a particular goal and then record the test cases. So you can see it decided to scroll the particular window and decide to fill up the phone number and email. So
Yeah, and so this is basically something available out of the box. This is not something that we've customized. This is just a baseline technology that we could build on top of, correct?
that's correct. That's correct. Yes. Now you can see there's a very interesting thing. We have hit a snag where the account name is a compulsory field, and it decides that, okay, you have not told me to fill up the account name, but I think this is a compulsory field and looks like we need to review the account name field. Let's click on account name field to address it. And it decides to create, fill something for the account name. So now the moment it goes there, we have not said any of these things, but it sees that, okay, it has to also create a new account in order to create a new contact. So it goes ahead and start creating some new account to see if it is going to be possible or not. So there you go. There you go. So the account is created. Now, ideally, it should close this thing and goes for contact creation. There you go. And there you go. The contact was created successfully, and that's the contact page.
Okay.
And while it comes up now, here an interesting thing here, I think, while from an angle of how it works, you can see here action as left click, right? And the coordinate being displayed here. So that's how computer use interacts with the entire system, right? So it decides whether it's going to be a left click, or it is going to be a scroll up, scroll down, or is it going to be a terminal search command, and then it decides which coordinate on the screen it needs to do that particular action, right? So here you can see the entire test creation test summary that was generated here. So it was able to log into the Salesforce, navigate to the contact section. It filled up this information. Contact was created after creating a particular account. And these are the test cases and documentation that has happened. And as you can see here, in the test case was successfully completed. The contact creation with all the required fields with a success confirmation was displayed. But here are the additional things that I did not ask, but it has reported. Minor issue. When creating the account, the text was saved with a duplication as this thing. This appears to be a user input error, right? That means it acknowledges that as part of your test script or the test instruction that you have given, you need to define something very concrete in order to create an account. So that's a heads up to the end user. The similar issue that happened in the email where the text was duplicated, and this appears to be another user input error, right? So, and with this minor issues which did not prevent the flow, it was able to verify the test cases, and the screenshots were also captured during the test execution. And finally, the test was complete, right?
Okay.
So imagine,
is there anything else that show us?
Yeah, so imagine now in case of a subject matter expert, right? Who has not, who has full understanding of the Salesforce on what to do, but want to operate an AI tool without getting into weeds of the AI tool, right? He or she can simply use this tool by giving the instruction and expecting that the AI tool is going to operate out of their instructions itself and give them the results.
Okay. And so what are some of the gaps that you would see if somebody wanted to use this in production? Like, what are some of the conversations you had with our customers about ways to improve this or ways to put this into somebody's day-to-day workflow?
So the biggest gap that I see here right now here is rate limiting, right? Now, to use computer use or Anthropic's computer use at scale, ideally, I'll show you here. this operates on an LLM, or for a matter of fact, this operates on a large language model from Anthropic, which is Sonnet 3.7, right? Now, this has rate limiting issues. Now, imagine if we are going to connect this over, at a scale with multiple people operating this thing, right? So if that's the case, now Anthropic is going to rate limit on multiple things because that is not very steady in my experience so far. And at a scale, this thing becomes a bottleneck at times, and you will see slow responses or even timeout errors that are popping out. So that's one. The other thing is we need to still acknowledge the fact that this is still an LLM figuring out where to click. So if the application is, tends towards becoming very dense in terms of something like this, where you can see these 4 icons very close to each other, and these icons have no labels for them whatsoever, right? So sometimes this becomes like a bottleneck where application confuse, this entire framework gets confused on where to click and how to, and why to click at that particular location. So it gets into multiple retry loops. That, okay, let me click on this. Oops, no, this is the wrong button. Maybe I need to go back.
Okay, so there are certain scenarios where it kind of breaks. Is that correct?
Yeah, it kind of breaks, and then we have, and in those scenarios where it breaks, we have to define really the clear path, for it to move forward. Like, for example, let's say, can you show me the details that open up when I click on is that purple calendar icon on the widget, right? So I'm talking about this particular icon, right? And here I'm defining how that particular icon looks like. So when I do that, so it sees that, okay, let me help you clicking on that icon. I can see a Salesforce interface. Now it will try to figure out that icon. Now you see, it is already hovering over that particular icon.
Okay, I think we get the idea. So yeah, so are there ways that we have talked to customers about fixing or improving things like the rate limiting issue or these edge cases? Is this something that we could improve through customization at Cognito?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we are doing for our customers. So this entire framework is open source. And what we have delivered for our customer, and we are in the process of delivering to our customers, is taking these frameworks and defining the guardrails within the framework in a way that it still becomes really, really useful and tangible for subject matter experts or the QA dev team for this, to use this entire application.
Okay. Yeah, and if a customer had other ways that they wanted to customize this, to something that's unique to their business, that's the kind of thing that we can do. It's like we can make this work for their business and anything that's unique about their circumstances.
Yeah, correct. And this entire framework, for one of the customer, we are embedding this entire framework as part of their business workflow, in which they have a business process defined as part of their workflow. And in one of the steps here is going to be involving SME or a UAT testing of the application to verify whether certain details popped up or not, depending upon some of the previous actions. So that is where we have embedded this framework within their workflow, and that's the automation that they are benefiting out of.
Okay, great. Is there anything else to show, or should we open it up to questions and answers for the audience?
No, I think that's the crust of the matter I wanted to share for today. And I think we pretty much realize how powerful this particular system is and what are the possibilities that it can achieve through.
Okay, great. In that case, for everybody in the audience, if you have any questions about ways that we can customize this, if you have any technical questions about the way the technology works, anything in general, feel free to type into the text box, and we'd be happy to address any of your questions. Yeah, we are now open for Q&A. Let's just go ahead and give it a second. I'm assuming that it is open to the audience to ask questions. If there are no questions, we can always wrap this up a little bit early, but let's just give it a second. Let's see if there's any questions the audience has for us. to everybody who did attend the webinar, we thank you very much for your time. I'm sure that somebody will follow up and ask you what you thought of the event. Likewise, if you do want to ask questions on more of a confidential basis, perhaps we can do that at a later time. But yes, thank you for everybody who attended. This has been a webinar by Cognita AI. And yeah, as a quick reminder, we are a solutions company that specializes in creating custom software solutions and IT projects powered by AI for our customers. And we'd be happy to work with anybody who wants to leverage AI as part of their day-to-day workflow. I think that's about it. Everybody, thank you for your time. We'll give you a little bit of we'll give you about 15 minutes back. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.